Mike and Emily, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. Mike and Emily are good friends, and they're part of the leadership team at Resound, which is the church where myself and my family go. They're amazing guys. They have a heart for young people as well as all people, and so yeah, they head up the youth work at our church as well. Welcome Mike and Emily, and can you just tell us a little bit about how things are looking for you at the moment, and what you've been up to?
Sure. Thank you for having us. It's a real pleasure to be with you and sharing with you today. As you say, we're part of the leadership team at Resound. So it's been a fun couple of weeks figuring out how do we translate church from in person to online. How do we not just kind of maintain community, but try and use this time as an opportunity to build, to dig deeper into our relationship with each other, with God, to grow as a church. So we've been doing all sorts of things, really. We've been creating more, doing videos, blogs, kind of playlists of worship songs, doing lots of Zoom group stuff with small groups. And it's been weird, but kind of refreshing, I think.
Yeah, I think the reality is that kind of we're all in a similar boat and no one really has a clue what they're doing. So we're just trying to figure out how to, I guess, find joy in small things, and where we would be normally kind of going out seeing friends, trying to see them over video, and when we would normally be hanging out with family, trying to keep up with family a lot. It's been a really interesting time. It hasn't been all good and it hasn't been all bad, but just really trying to navigate how to do life well in what feels like a really weird season that no one's really kind of written a guidebook for. So, yeah.
You guys are really good at connecting in with people on the fringes. So what does that look like for you at the moment?
It's a real challenge, actually. I think we're struggling in a lot of ways to do things and connect with people as we would want to. Some of that's because people we would want to be connecting with, so particularly for me and my youth work, some of those young people that are more at risk or vulnerable, those who are disconnected from schools or whatever, the only means of contact we tend to have is in person. So trying to remain connected to them is very difficult now. Of course, the good opportunity we have is prayer, obviously. Praying for people, there's no boundary or no physical boundary on who you can be praying for. So, as we should be, I think, just laying people before God, those who are, as you say, at the fringe, when we can't physically reach them, to be kind of comfort to them. We know a God that we can be coming to, who is there, who is comforter, who is Prince of Peace. So it's just upping our prayer game, really. That's what I found.
And I think that's amazing. I mean, lots of churches are finding this in different communities. There's been such an amazing opportunity that's come out of this, having to provide suddenly loads of online resources means that people who wouldn't necessarily step into a church building or step into a group that we would normally be running suddenly can access stuff at the click of a button. And so there's been some opportunity come out of that where people are engaging with groups and stuff that we're doing that might not otherwise. So massive positive to what's kind of trying to bring in a solution to a problem. Actually, there's a lot of good that's come out of that already. So I'm really encouraged by that.
And you both are incredible musicians, and you're involved with worship in lots of different capacities. Again, for your time of worship together, how have you been finding that? And has God kind of been speaking to you about anything specifically to do with worship during this time?
It's been fun. I found it quite fun. As you say, being kind of musical and some element of that is creative. It's just a barrier that's been put in the way of how do we do music, how do we worship with our music. And there's an element to which we have to be creative, think outside the box, because we're so comfortable with the way it normally looks, where on Sunday morning a band of us, small or big, will stand on the stage and play some songs, and that's become what worship looks like for us. But this has been a good opportunity to remind ourselves that we can worship in our homes with music still, or in other ways. It's no less significant. A chorus of people worshipping in their own homes is no different, I don't think, to a congregation in one specific room. Obviously, there's something special about gathering together to worship, and it builds us up. But in terms of giving God praise He's due, it's just the same, worshipping in our own homes, our own lives, through our service, through our music.
I think it's brought, well, for me anyway, it's brought more authenticity perhaps when I led worship for videos and stuff, but also just worshipping myself, because you kind of you can't just go through the motions of turning up on a Sunday and singing some songs or whatever. It feels much more real, and to be in a situation where we're really trying to figure out, God, where are you in this? To be worshipping through that. I just feel like my worship and what I'm bringing is more authentic, because I can't just go through the motions of what we normally do. And I think there's something really powerful about on a Sunday or in the week when we're engaging together, although we're all in different homes, the idea of everyone sitting and watching the same video and using the same songs to worship, there's something uniting about that as well. And not forgetting how powerful our worship is. I think it's easy in this kind of a time to see how important our social action and our practical help is. And it's been amazing to see the church come together in that way. But the kind of the world doesn't recognise the importance of our worship as well. And I think to continue faithfully worshipping, praising, praying in this time is so important, as well as the practical stuff that we're all doing.
There's a song, I'm sure you know, the Matt Redman Heart of Worship. It talks about when the music fades and all is stripped away, and I simply come, long just to give something like some worth. I'll give you more of a song, blah, blah. That song kind of speaking to me at the moment, that everything's been stripped away. As I said earlier, our kind of our routines, our structure has been stripped away, and now we've got a chance to come back to the heart of worship, where it's all about God, it's all about Jesus, it's all about praising and worshipping Him. And that's, I think it would be a shame to lose sight because of the distractions of the world and the panic, when we've got this amazing opportunity to take away the routine of what we know and draw close to that intimate heart of worship.
That's awesome. So what are you guys kind of carrying in your hearts at the moment? Like what's God been speaking to you about?
I've been doing quite a lot of reading. I love reading anyways, but it's been a great opportunity to have a little bit more time. And something that's been speaking to me is looking through scripture, and I found myself associating really closely with the Israelites, particularly thinking about the time in exile. And it's come to be my kind of interpretation of the times at the moment, that we're in a bit of an exile. We are estranged from our normal life, our regular ways of being, our places of worship, our workplaces, our families, people we know and love, things we care about. And I was drawn to Jeremiah. Someone was talking to me the other day about the classic Jeremiah 29:11 verse of, God says, "I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope in a future." But the broader context of that passage being about the Israelites being in exile in Babylon and having left all their homes behind, being separated from their families, scared and kind of unsure of their future. And God speaks into that situation and says, "I want you to set up homes here, set up families, build homes, pray for the land, pray blessing over it." And part of His plan for the future is a future while they're in exile, not just once they get back. And I think God's been speaking to me through that story that we're in that sort of situation. We shouldn't be expecting God to be moving once we get back to normal life, as it were, but we can expect great things now. Whilst we're in lockdown, whilst we're in isolation, God's speaking and moving and stirring in people. All we have to do is open our eyes and our hearts to receive it, and pray for more. I think we're in a bit of an exile, but during that time, God's working on us. He's shaping us and molding us in new ways.
I think for me it's been, well, to give you some context, I love to rush around and keep busy all the time, and I'm a doer and I like to fix problems, and this very start of or kind of even pre-lockdown phase of all of this, I kind of like snapped into action and wanted to organise everything and figure out what we're going to do, and I have done some of that, and that's been helpful, but actually having this forced time of kind of slowing down, or if not slowing down, having all of the normal schedule stripped away, has enabled me to then kind of reflect on all the stuff that we normally do, just because it's part of our normal life routine, whether that's for the two of us or whether that's part of church stuff, and just really taking the time, I guess, to reflect on when we get back to kind of normal, what stuff do we just pick straight back up again, and actually what stuff should we maybe leave, and just having that time to think about, I guess we've always said that the church is about the people and not about the building, and yet never really had to test that out in the way that we do established church. And so when we're suddenly stripped of our meeting place, I think it's really been almost like an interesting experiment just to see what church actually looks like when we don't have that. Yeah. I've been amazed at I'm not amazed, I'm not surprised at all, but just so pleased to see what feels like a mobilisation of an army of the church, of people who aren't kind of retreating, although they are literally retreating to their homes, in terms of the way that they have responded. They responded ready for action and ready to help. And just to kind of, be reflecting on what does it mean for the church to be an army who want to serve, even when there aren't such obvious right in front of your face issues, because actually we know that our world needs help all the time, every day, regardless of crisis or not. And so, just to think about what does the church look like going forward, because I don't think we can go through this season and it not change us in the way that we do church. And I would be really sad actually if we did just go back to when things were before, because I think there's been amazing stuff coming out of this. So I guess over the next few weeks and however long, I'm just going to continue to reflect on that. What do we pick up and what do we leave where it is?
It's good, so good. So God's, despite all of this, that God's still inspiring you guys to kind of be expectant, to be hope filled and joy filled, and just kind of see what Holy Spirit's doing, rather than kind of facing the kind of enormity of potential outcomes that are in front of us right now. So that's really encouraging to hear you guys as church leaders to be such in a place of trust in God, but also a kind of almost like a mantle of mission to change the things that we do just out of routine, and be more into what Holy Spirit's kind of flowing in and where he's at. So that's really exciting. Thanks so much for sharing that. I just thought, kind of finally, I don't know whether you guys have some particular story, maybe individually or as a couple, of where you've just seen God really powerfully break through, either in your own lives or someone else's life. But just a story really, again, to encourage those watching this.
It might come across as a small thing, but it's a big thing for us, I think. Seeing family members who aren't Christians, aren't connected with church, for the first time, or kind of for the first time in a long while, connecting with some of the stuff that we're doing as a church, because at the moment it's like watching us on TV, so but knowing that God's speaking to them through what they're seeing, aside from just whatever we're presenting, has been a real blessing actually, to know that. That's just a reminder for me, at least, that God's continuing to work. I've heard several stories of people in similar positions where we've got people in our church whose partners or kids or family aren't Christians, and they'll sit together and watch a church service and sharing that, and there's something really special about the small things like that, which in many ways it's just normal life, not families gathering together, but actually knowing that God's using these new means of technology and means of gathering digitally to break into family homes, to draw families closer together and to draw people closer to Him. So that's been encouraging me.
I've been encouraged by a thought that I heard recently, which was about the way that we look at fear, because this is a time where it's really natural to be fearful. And there's a lot of panic, and part of that is fueled by what we read and what we see. But also just knowing actually there is something very tangible that it's almost right to be fearful of. And there's a difference between fear that is panic and then fear that is wisdom. And the kind of the example for the time would be that a wise fear is to wash your hands lots, and a panic fear is to buy lots of toilet roll. But actually, that kind of principle that I've been thinking about as a result of all of this has been really helpful. And I think it's right to be fearful and right to have that wisdom fear where we're taking the right precautions. But actually, the panic fear, like Jesus' perfect love, casts that out. And so just thinking about what does it mean in this time to be aware and be cautious, but not have that fear, that panic, that is really unhelpful for us, and to give that over to God.
That's good. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. I'm going to put a link to our church YouTube channel, and maybe for anyone who hasn't kind of linked in with the church during this time, or anyone who would like to kind of see what we're about and you guys are about at Resound. But yeah, thank you so much for being part of this and sharing your stories and encouragement and where you're at. And yeah, I know people will be encouraged by the things that you've had to say to us. So yeah, bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.